All right, everyone, welcome back to the world of cinematics. Today, we're going to be doing the first of a series of segments called Quick Takes. So, this week joining us, we have our wonderful friend Brody here.
Thank you, Jed. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I want to go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what your what brings you here, and what you love about movies, and what you look forward to talking to everyone about today.
Alrighty. Well, one of my favorite things, obviously a big fan of DC Comics. You know, you can see him wearing the Flash hat. I've got a Flash t-shirt on. I have a Deathstroke jacket on. And that's really something that I'm really passionate about. And I got talking to Jed and Robert at a concert that we both went to one night, and we started talking about DC Comics, and we mentioned that it would be fun to all get together and discuss some of the recent news that's been happening over at DC currently.
Yeah, because oh boy, there's been a lot of recent news. Some of the stuff has been not as cheerworthy, like Black Adam has not been making a ton at the box office. It's probably not going to break even. And, does that bode well for the Black Adam franchise moving forward? Not necessarily. That being said, I have a lot of faith in DC as a whole. DC, it's kind of been I think it'd be fair to just say it's been turbulent, a little unstable these last few years. Yeah. But recently something's happened that we think is going to change that. Brody, what has that been?
Currently, after the Warner Brothers Discovery merge and the new president of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, has appointed a new president of DC Studios. Now, this is very interesting because DC has always been underneath Warner Brothers and hasn't had really any autonomy or been able to move freely. But now, just like Marvel Studios is under DC, under Disney,
Yeah, it's as its own separate studio, its own entity.
But the now still owns him.
Yes.
DC Studios will now be under Warner Brothers Discovery, but have its own autonomy. And following that, they've uh, named their presidents James Gunn and David Peter Safran.
Yes. So James Gunn, he's going to be the co-president that's kind of focusing on the creative side. He's I would think the best analog of what he is going to be is John Lasseter back in the day. John Lasseter was the president and the chief head honcho over at Pixar. But not only was he in charge of like, okay, you do this project and let's assign you to this and let's kind of guide the company forward, he also would direct some movies. And so like he's behind things like Toy Story, Monsters Inc. And so wonderful guy. Okay. Allegations of his behavior aside. Wonderful director and wonderful studio head. Again, allegations aside, because yes, he has some problematic behaviors. But James Gunn apparently does not. James Gunn is as far as we've heard, a wonderful, wonderful person to work with. So he's going to be heading up the creative side of DC, kind of steering the ship, while also every once in a while popping in to direct a movie. Peter Safran, on the other hand, he's handling the business side, saying, okay, what budget do we want to allocate towards this? What's the marketing? When are we going to release this movie? When are we going to start, marketing this show? Who can I bring on to produce this project? Things like that. And so these two have a history of working together. These two both have a history of working on DC. I'm very confident in their abilities moving forward. But beyond their abilities, putting Peter Safran to the side now because I'm not a business major and I don't really think diving into the economics of this would be the most interesting sort of podcast. I mean, unless you're into that, in which case, go knock yourselves out. But
Or let us know in the comments. Oh, just throwing that out there.
But with James Gunn being the head of DC Studios now, it's interesting that there will be one person guiding the ship. But with it being James Gunn, what direction do you think this DC ship is going to move in?
Well, I think that James Gunn is definitely passionate for little characters and little guys. I mean, if you can see anything in the Suicide Squad movie that he made, and also with the Peacemaker show that he made,
he has Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, he has a habit for taking smaller, lesser known characters and making them more broad and aware to the public.
Yes.
I do know that he released an article about the flagship characters that they want to focus on of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn. as the fourth one, which again probably on the marketing side because Harley Quinn makes a ton of money.
She's a big name. People love Margot Robbie. And he probably had a great time working with her on the Suicide Squad. So good relationship with her, talented actress, good character. It works. Wouldn't necessarily be one of the four main pillars I would go with, but I trust James Gunn.
Yeah. And something I was thinking about is that those four characters are characters that can kind of stand alone.
Yes.
Almost to their side. Harley Quinn's become such a character of herself. She no longer really needs to be connected
to Joker
or Batman. She has her own story. She has her own character development, her own growth that she goes through.
Now, when I first heard the news, my various excitement and all that aside, the three things that I thought that he's really going to focus on moving forward. One, Superman. I thought that he's a big fan of DC Comics and Superman lately. I mean, we haven't seen him on screen in 5 years, unless you want to count the Snyder cut. But even then, that's a recut of a 5-year-old movie. And he is the original superhero, and the last Superman movie was 9 years ago, and then he's had other appearances, but
not good appearances.
Yeah,
say.
We're missing Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was going to do that. The next thing I thought he was going to do, which we've heard things about Superman. I trust that he's going to handle Superman, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. The second one we've heard nothing about. I think he's going to do kind of the, not necessarily a movie or show about this, but delve into this side of DC, the Justice League Dark. Swamp Thing, John Constantine, Zatanna, Trigon. He's going to delve into the weird, dark, mystical side of DC that we've had a few movies on, like Constantine and Jonah Hex. Constantine's okay, Jonah Hex very much not. And then the third thing that he has hinted at briefly that I think he's going to do, he's going to be the guy who cracks Green Lantern. Because that is one of the pillars of DC, but it's also so weird.
Yeah.
But beyond just being weird, you could do a superhero story with it. You could do a cop story with it. You could do like a space opera, Lord of the Rings,
Green Lantern
story.
I feel to be done properly, it needs to be done in a space opera setting.
It's so hard to do right because it's so many different things. But I believe James Gunn can handle the tone, handle the content, and just having a master plan of where he wants to take the overall DC universe.
Yeah.
If he wants to say, if he wants to build up to Blackest Night, you're going to need to use a lot of Green Lantern in stories. If you want to build up to Crisis on Infinite Earths, it wouldn't be as important to really focus on Green Lantern.
Of course. And I also think about, the upcoming projects and thinking about, are these going to tie into these plans that he already has, or will this Flash movie that we may never get because it keeps getting pushed back change everything? Which brings us, of course, to Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which we've gotten some releases. We have a trailer, and we have some cardboard cutouts that they just recently released.
Yes. We've Robert is he is wise and scholarly. He predicted correctly
wise
that
beyond
this life
his years.
would occur not.
And trying to give me bullet points. That's everything I'm doing in my life.
Yes. But yeah, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. The last few days down in Brazil, we've had a Comic-Con going on, and every year it's been a bigger and bigger event down there. To the point where now, they released the Indiana Jones trailer down there.
Right? What was that about?
It's become a really big thing. And so far, DC hasn't really put out anything big. Part of that may be James Gunn just saying, like, hey, look, I'm working on some stuff right now, but, like, I've had the job for less than a month. So, but also, are there any projects you really think James Gunn is, hardcore, we need to promote this right now that are coming up soon? Fury of the Gods, I want him to promote. Aquaman's not coming out for a while. We don't really know what's going on with The Flash.
Ezra Miller.
Ooh. Yeah. So maybe we'll get something for Shazam, but even that, we just got a new trailer for it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Yeah. But, hey, we get some cardboard cutouts at least. So, yeah, if you want to pull this up, Robert, here we have a look at Helen Mirren, who we've seen in the trailers before, but we also get to see Lucy Liu, kind of rocking the Gal Gadot Amazonian mini skirt.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, how old was Lucy Liu? She's in her, like, late 40s or something? She's looking good.
Yeah.
And then over here we have some of the main cast. We see the Shazam family and newcomer Rachel Zegler. As I understand it, she's going to be one of the daughters of Atlas, one of the my Greek is rusty. Hesperides. I don't know. Um, I think she's going to be a love interest of sorts in this. You know, somebody who's with the bad guys but then becomes good or something. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, kind of a shame that such a beautiful, talented young actress gets a really weird looking cardboard
Cardboard
cutout.
cutout.
It
It looks like something a creeper would have in their bedroom.
like she looks heavier set than she is, and like have weird stoic face, but like with the DreamWorks eyebrow and
Yeah.
everything.
It's like they were trying to portray something and they totally kind of went off the mark.
Yeah, like when you watch Rachel Zegler in West Side Story, or when you see her on the red carpet or in interviews talking to people, she has such this warm, charming, magnetic presence. And instead of showing off this, this just absolute ray of sunshine that she can be, what is it that we get, Robert? Yeah, yeah. Look at that. It barely even looked like her.
Eyebrows.
Yeah,
Time to pull off the rock
yeah.
eyebrow.
Yeah. So I'm still very excited for this movie. Just some weird cardboard cutouts. It's good to see Lucy Liu though.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, which is our next topic we wanted to cover, Robert?
Video games.
All right. So one of
Your
the things
favorite.
James Gunn has said, someone asked someone on Twitter, and hey, we should probably ask him things on Twitter. He's very responsive.
Very responsive.
Someone
It's
just
crazy.
yeah, someone just popped up and said, "Hey,
James
James Gunn,
to Cinemax now.
right? Like, hey, James Gunn, I like video games. Are there any chances that we're going to see some like canon DC video games that are like canon to the movies?" He just said, "Yeah, we're going to see some video games that are canon to the DC movies, and some that are just doing their own thing, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll see more like street level characters in the games?
I imagine so. How do you gamify the Flash? How do you gamify Superman? How do you like so many of these like Batman that works. I could see a Wonder Woman game, but like
Yeah.
it's gonna be like Batman and Nightwing and Red Hood,
You could even
You
do
could see
Green
Green
Arrow.
Green Arrow, Peacemaker,
I can see Green
Vigilante. Green Lantern could work depending on how you gamify it,
Mhm.
but I imagine it will mostly be street level characters. Areas that they want to kind of flesh out so that you can reference or bring into live action. Like, say, if they're doing a Batman movie, you can have a Red Hood solo adventure that's a game, and then bring him into the movie so people can say, "Oh yeah, I love Red Hood. Let's bring him in a movie." And then people will say, "Oh my gosh, who's this really cool guy? Oh, there's a game. I'll go play it."
Yeah, I think it's something that DC's been struggling with for a long time is cross promoting.
Not a lot of synergy.
Not a lot of synergy. Things go different ways, and that makes sense. You know, for the longest time, um, there was a ban on using certain characters in
In
certain
television,
products, and which doesn't make all the sense. I mean, you look
Like-
at what Marvel has been able to do
Mm,
without quote unquote all the toys in their toy box.
yeah.
And DC has always had all the toys in
And
their toy box.
I understand some of the logic behind it. Like, when was the last time you saw Mickey Mouse in a movie?
Right.
Disney doesn't want to do anything with Mickey Mouse because Mickey Mouse is Disney. If you put out a Mickey Mouse movie and it was bad, people were like, "Ooh, this kind of ruins how I look at Disney." And DC has felt similarly about some of their prime stuff. And I understand wanting to like, hey, we can't screw this up, but that doesn't mean you put it on the shelf forever. It
Yeah.
means let's use it, but just hire people who are talented, good writers, good directors who will tell good stories. It's simple as that.
And I think a character that has definitely been a little bit misused is the character of Mr. Terrific in the Arrow show.
Yeah.
I think that was I mean, the Arrow show itself was meant to be a Batman show, and then they couldn't use Batman, and so
Right.
it turned into an Arrow show.
Mhm.
And then over the course of the time, they introduced
Yeah.
a character named Curtis Holt.
Mm-hmm.
Although the comic book character's name is Michael Holt.
Sure, but
Those things are up one for like
Yeah.
creative changes.
here you want to throw them up here. So James Gunn
Ooh,
recently
that's him.
Yeah,
Okay.
James Gunn recently tweeted out this image. It's a famous painting by Alex Ross of Mr. Terrific. Now, my feelings on Mr. Terrific kind of go as thus. As a superhero, he's freaking lame. He very much to me is, well, not even just to me, he very much is the DC version of Mr. Fantastic. oh, Mr. Fantastic, I'm a guy who can stretch. Yeah, that's lame. But he's not a great character because of the superheroics. He's a great character because of the character, the things he does, the way he interacts with those around him and the world. He's as smart as like Batman. He has 14 PhDs. He's a brilliant guy, but he has kind of that, that Superman Boy Scout, that sense of morality and goodness to him. So he's like Mr. Terrific had or Mr. Fantastic had a little bit less ego
Yeah, that's always
and
been his problem.
and a lot more a moral compass. I mean, if you want to pull up that picture again, remember he literally has his heart on his sleeve where it says, almost, yep. Yeah, he literally has his heart on his sleeve. It says fair play on his costume. He believes in doing everything fairly. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't fight dirty. He wants to win the right way.
And he likes to get the truth out there.
Yes.
You know, when people are hiding things or trying to conceal things,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, Jed, he is a very smart person. He's the third smartest person on the planet.
Yeah.
That's been stated in the comic books. That
It's like, who's smarter than him? Lex
Luthor and Bruce Wayne, I think.
Yeah.
It's never been exactly clarified, but I believe those are his top runners.
He's a character that's been around since 1942, and the best we've gotten is a really lame depiction on an arrow on Arrow. So yeah, not the most flattering profile in pop culture.
I think best ways to include him would be in a JSA project.
That would
He would do amazing in something with
He could have
JSA.
great chemistry with Hawkman that we saw in Black Adam.
Or he could be a supporting character that helps with certain problems because he has that smart
Yeah.
kind of side character thing where he could still get flushed out, but he could still also have the potential to
Right.
be.
Like I could see him in a Suicide Squad movie or a Peacemaker show where he works with Amanda Waller, but he's the one who undercuts her to make sure that everything is above board. So he's kind of the wrench in the gears for this terrible, conniving, but brilliant, effective Amanda Waller.
Oh yeah. That sums her up, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the few people Batman's scared of.
Yep.
And again, it's amazing because if you were to look at person who's like Oprah Winfrey, you're like, oh, this, mildly overweight, short black woman is one of the few people Batman is afraid of. But then the second she opens her mouth and starts acting and just like, oh, I understand the character. She is someone you do not ever want to cross.
Nope.
No, she will end you.
You do not get on her bad side.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. We have another thing that James Gunn has tweeted out
recently, actually.
Yeah, just within the last 2 days. Was it yesterday?
I think so.
Yeah. So he tweeted out this image, just with one caption: "Making plans." Now, okay, yes, it's a picture of Superman, and he's making plans. I think he's very deliberate in using that picture.
The picture from Kingdom Come.
Yes. What's the deal behind Kingdom Come?
Oh, what isn't the deal with Kingdom Come?
In like a 2 or 3 sentences.
Okay, I think Kingdom Come narrowed down is the idea of how certain ideas move on in the world and how those ideas juxtapose against society that we live in, which I think is perfect.
Yes.
Our modern society has gravitated towards a more darker, edgier world, where the heroes of DC are definitely the hopeful, altruistic, optimistic heroes. And to see a story like Kingdom Come, which pits, the older superheroes, Superman, against the younger heroes.
These younger ones, they don't have a problem with killing.
No, they don't have any
stuff.
And they're not. I wouldn't say they're untrained, but they're not trained in the ways of morality per se.
They appreciate the superheroes that came before them, but their morality, they're outdated. It's time for them to move on.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. And it's not just James Gunn who's been talking about Kingdom Come. Dwayne Johnson has been very vocal about having a Black Adam Superman fight. And if you want to talk about Black Adam and Shazam and Superman in a 3-way brawl, that's basically ripped straight out of the pages of Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
And so Kingdom Come was kind of the original superhero Civil War thing. In fact, Robert, if you want to pull up that image.
Do you want the original?
The zoomed in one you were messing with there.
Okay, do you want Superman side or Shazam side?
Well, yeah. Let's show the two pictures kind of back to back.
Okay.
So we see in the zoomed in picture, it's Superman at a cool Green Lantern table. But look at the table. Look at the reflection. You see there's something there. And what is it that you see there? It's Shazam. It's Captain Marvel.
It's a reflection, and I think the interesting part is too. You see a few other characters there beside him.
Mhm.
Of course, you have Batman,
Black Canary.
Black Canary, and a few other characters,
Mhm.
and they're all opposing the side that. And so, like you said, it's this superhero civil war that was way before Marvel did it.
Mhm.
Of these confronting ideals,
Yes.
and it gets to be a pretty interesting story. I mean, 4 issues, but still outlandish and absolutely breathtaking
So,
in what it does.
I got a question then. So the younger ones that they're all for like the idea of killing?
Well, it's not like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill all those people, but like think of the Avengers movies. How often do the Avengers kill people?
Quite frequent.
Yeah, and it's not, and it's not that the Avengers movies like, oh, these are dark, edgy ones. It's just like, oh yeah, they're bad people and we kill them. So, the Avengers are kind of portrayed as soldiers. It's not bad when a soldier kills someone. If the person is a bad guy, you're in combat. Okay, yeah, sure. But oftentimes DC Comics will show that these people are vigilantes who act outside the law. Who, yeah, it's okay that they act outside the law because they don't act as judge, jury, and executioner. They're good people who help people cross the road and all that stuff.
They're not Judge Dredd.
Trees.
It's an oversimplification, but these are safe, good people who they have that line they will never cross. But then if you really delve into that idea, you show the conflict within that. That's a lot of what Kingdom Come is about. Is it okay for us to assert ourselves as these moral authorities, not just to save people, but to act as police, to act as armies?
So
And if you're wondering what Batman's doing on that scene,
that's literally. I was like,
Yeah.
it's
what about Batman?
it's more about Batman's he's taken this turn where he's become kind of a little bit more edgier, kind of the same turn, for lack of a better example, kind of as we see in BVS, where like
Very Dark Knight Returns.
Very Dark Knight,
It's
where
the
it's
Batman
like
who said maybe the old ways didn't work
as well.
Yeah.
And then you also see, if you want to show that up on the screen real quickly, you got Superman. Next to Superman is Wonder Woman, and then the man in the black hood with the gold thing, that is the Red Robin character.
Yep.
That is Tim Drake, or one of the third Robin, who's all grown up and now opposes the idea of that Batman has. So it's interesting.
Batman versus Tim Drake. Instantly, Robert, you're hooked, aren't you?
Yes, because I mean, one of my favorite animated movies for Batman is Batman versus Robin.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that movie.
That was Damien, right?
Yeah,
Damien.
that was Damien.
Yeah.
But just that aspect of Batman having to fight a Robin.
Like, I trained you. I mean, yes, there's the physical aspect of I trained you. I know all your moves, but it's also I taught you to be this kind of person, and now I've moved on, but you're still the person I trained you to be.
Yeah.
It's father against son, but it's also past against present. It's
current ideas versus past ideas.
Yeah, past ideas that I held. Am I wrong, or did I move on to a better way of thinking?
Well, and I've never knew Tim Drake went on to be a different kind of Robin.
Yeah.
Like with Nightwing and
Red Hood.
And Red Hood. And that's the thing, Red Hood always intrigued me too, because it's almost as if Batman in this one is like now the Red Hood side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think DC's biggest thing has always been legacy. Characters always move on. Robin's always become something else. You know, Kid Flash becomes the Flash, and
the Flash family is huge.
Certain characters take on different roles. I mean, if you read current comic books, there are actually 2 Aquamen now.
And that's happened in Marvel. Like Sam has taken up the mantle of Captain America. So has Bucky. But it's always been very temporary.
Yeah.
It's always, okay, now let's bring back Steve Rogers. Let's bring back Tony Stark. Whereas with DC, it will be, we will start you out as one thing, and then you will become your own person, but you will always carry this legacy.
Well, grow you. I mean, Nightwing was even Batman for a little bit, and then he was like, no, I don't need this. I'm
Nightwing.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool being Batman, but that's not who I am.
Exactly.
Nightwing is good enough.
And it's a movement for his character where he's always seen that as kind of the end. He's always not wanted to be Batman.
Yeah.
And then to be put in the position where he has to be Batman, because of the experience that happened in Final Crisis, where Batman dies.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
If you guys are watching this show and don't are afraid of spoilers, you should.
Yeah. Newsflash.
Yourself.
Newsflash. Batman died in a comic once and came back.
Yeah, that'll never happen again.
Nope.
But anyway, and so he becomes Batman, and then it's like, oh, but this isn't my end goal. Batman wasn't my end goal, and it's kind of this resolution for Dick that he was able to become a better Batman, and then to be able to get over that and become a better Nightwing after that.
Yeah, very much so.
I think that's one thing because Brody and I were talking today at work actually about what do we prefer more, character building or storytelling? And as much as I like storytelling, the character building is huge for me.
Yes, the story won't work if you don't have characters you care about.
Exactly.
And if the story is motivated by characters making decisions, like it's not just, oh, somebody made an excellent strategic decision here, but like this person became angry and did this, or because Dick has now grown into become a better person, he's able to resist the temptation to lash out in anger, and so instead does that. When you have these character-driven stories, you're able to win on both because you start with character and it leads into story. But if you start with story, it doesn't always lead into character.
Exactly. And another good example, I just finished. Well, I'm like 4 issues away from finishing Wally West's entire run as the Flash before the Flash resetting everything, and Flash Rebirth, and so amazing to see his character arc. There's so much I didn't realize about Wally West. You go from the beginning with Wally West being a character that's literally using his superpowers to pay his bills.
Yeah.
And is hooking up with girls and then breaking their hearts and stuff. So you get to this father figure who cares deeply about his children and his wife. But that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
That happened over the course of 30 years of conflicts and
I don't think James Gunn is going to take 30 years, but he does have this long form storytelling that he is very much hinting at and building.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm very excited for the future.
I'm excited. There are good things, even though we're not hearing a lot. I think there are good things.
The things he's hinting at are good news.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of hints, we want to close out with one last topic. Jason Momoa is the guy who plays Aquaman, and Aquaman is not how he's like in the comics, but I love this new take on Aquaman.
I do like. He gives a new take to people who say he's just a dude that talks to fish and rides a seahorse.
Exactly. That being said,
he's a buff dude.
If I were to look at Jason Momoa and not know he plays Aquaman, and I were to be told, hey, this guy's playing a DC character, I just instantly, that man is Lobo.
Exactly, and for those people that know Jason Momoa, they know he is a huge Lobo fan. He's absolutely loves him.
Look at him. That's Jason Momoa.
It absolutely is. And the other day, he posted a video of him saying he was very secretive about it, because there's probably a tight cap on it.
Yep.
But he was mentioning how there are a lot of things that he's excited for, and if people know him and what he likes, then they're also going to be very excited about this new opportunity that he's going to be given.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a rumor mill, kind of like Jason Momoa is trying to give us a hint without giving us a hint. But yeah, Lobo could be coming.
Yeah, I mean, you want to throw that up there, Robert? I mean, he is Lobo.
He would look amazing.
It's pretty amazing. Like, sometimes you'll have something where, like, a comic book writer will base a character off of an actor just as reference. Like, the ultimate version of... I'm blanking on his name. The head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, the ultimate version of Nick Fury, thank you. They drew him to look like Sam Jackson, and then they eventually later cast Sam Jackson, so it was perfect casting. Lobo has always looked like this. Before Jason Momoa was born, probably.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just... Every moment of his life has been leading him up to play Lobo. I don't know if he's actually going to do it, but he's been hinting at something. And I would not be unhappy if this were the case.
Yeah. Because Lobo's an amazing character. And I think James Gunn could do him.
Yes, he's a brutal, violent, vicious villain. But he's also has that kind of quirky Deadpool side to him. Just a little.
All right. I think that wraps up the quick take, right?
I think that does.
I think that does it for us.
All right.
All right. If you guys enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. That's right. I said it. And you'll see it here in just a second in our outro. You can find us at the World of Cine. Sorry, at of Cinemax. We should change that.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
You know what? Watch our podcast episode that'll air tomorrow, and we'll have something new. But for now, out of cinematics, and stay tuned for our next episode. Brody, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's
We
great.
hope to have you back as maybe just our DC. What's the word I'm looking for? Ambassador? No, what commentator? Commentator.
I am the ambassador.
It's good. We got a new guy.
Does that mean I have diplomatic immunity to things?
Well, you wanted to say no.
I'm gonna say yes.
Well, right, yes, but actually, so we just want to see what trouble you get yourself in.
I was gonna do a whole Count Vertigo shit.
See, I'm thinking
Come on,
if we do a Marvel episode, he'll just come in and start yelling about DC, and then we're like, well, we can't do anything about it. He's got a diplomatic immunity.
Yep.
We're going a little over time, but thanks again for watching, guys, and we will see you tomorrow when we premiere our podcast.
Mm.
All right, bye.